$100 extra every week will be in the pockets of childcare workers right across the country as a Christmas gift from the federal government. Joining us live is the Prime Minister Anthony Albanese. PM, we will get to the Olympics in just a moment, but let's start with the politics.
Good morning, Pete.
This is great for childcare workers, but there's always a but. For the centres who have cost pressures of their own, such as rent, food, energy bills, how do you police it?
We make sure that in order to be eligible to receive this money, centres have to limit the amount that they can increase fees over the next year to 4.4%. So we make sure that this gets passed on to the workers. This will be of enormous benefit, and we've worked with the sector on this. They will certainly welcome this announcement, a 15% increase, as you said, from December 1, an additional bit more than $100, 10% increase, and then a further $50 increase the following December 1 as well, meaning that childcare workers are valued. These are people who don't just mind our youngest Australians, they care for them, and importantly, they educate them as well. It's so important. The human brain develops most in the first 5 years of life. And that's why this is a key to a more successful and prosperous Australia in the long run. It also will assist in keeping costs down for families. This will boost productivity and workforce participation by encouraging particularly women to enter back into the workforce earlier or to work an extra day or two. This is good for productivity, good for workers, and good for families as well.
Is it inflationary?
No, it's not, because what it will do is keep costs down, importantly. And in addition to that, this will apply to out-of-school hours carers as well. They do such an important job. And what we know is that if we didn't do something about the wages of childcare workers and aged care workers, then we wouldn't have a workforce. The truth is that they are the sectors that are most feminised, most likely to have women in the workforce. And over a period of time, their wages have not kept up with standards in other areas of the economy. It's been identified as a real weakness and identified as something that's necessary if we're going to have a workforce to look after our youngest Australians. And if we don't have childcare centres, we don't have women re-entering the workforce, we don't have families able to get by, and we have a handbrake on our economy. So this is really important economic reform, as well as being a question of just basic fairness as well. It will be welcomed by all of the childcare workers right around the country today. They've campaigned really strongly on this issue for justice. It's something that was identified during the pandemic as well as an issue. We can't continue to have this massive gender pay gap, and it is so important for families and for businesses.
OK, on inflation, the RBA has taken a shot at your spending, which is why rates aren't coming down. Are Australians facing higher rates for longer because of big spending federal and state budgets?
Well, that's not what they've said, Peter, with respect. And the truth is...
Well, this is the quote here from the RBA. Public demand is forecast to be stronger than previously expected, reflecting recent public spending announcements by federal and state governments. Are you saying they're wrong?
Yeah, that's very different. That's very different from the way that you characterised it, Peter. Inflation has a range of aspects, and that's why we've made sure we agree that inflation needs to be further moderated. It's been cut in half since we came to office. One of the reasons why, two things we've done. We've designed all of our reforms to put that downward pressure on inflation, whether it be our energy price relief plan, whether it be cheaper childcare, where costs have been reduced by 11%, fee-free TAFE. these measures are designed in a way to assist people who are doing it tough, whilst we make sure that we continue to moderate inflation. But the other thing we've done that is so important is we've made sure fiscal policy, budget policy works arm in arm with monetary policy.
Well, that's not working at all because the RBA and Treasury are brawling at the moment.
That's not true, Peter.
Well, you're saying completely different things.
We agree that inflation... No, we're not. No, we're not. We're saying that inflation needs to continue to moderate, and we're saying that we are working towards that. That's why we're producing 2 budget surpluses. If you had the Prime Minister, any of the last 3 on your program over the years, whether it was Abbott or Turnbull or Morrison, they would have been standing here speaking about their massive budget deficits. We turned a $78 billion Liberal deficit into a $22 billion Labor surplus.
Okay.
That is in order to make sure that inflation moderates. That is what we are doing, and that's what we'll continue to do. And today's announcement as well.
Okay.
That's why we have the constraint on childcare fees. Again, to help families and to assist with that moderating of inflation that we want to see.